Well, it's sort of a good news, bad news situation. Bad news, I have COVID again, and I'm isolating at home. Good news, home is 60 acres, and we just had our first frost, which means the rosehips are ready to pick, and I could sure use a cup of tea. That's the bush I want. We moved here last winter after all the rosehips had already gone bad, so I am very excited to actually try them out. Here we go. These are beauties. Oh, yeah. I think that'll work just fine. So when harvesting rosehips, there's really not much to it, but there's a few simple tips and tricks that I can give you to make sure you have a successful time foraging. Right here is a great example. So you want bright, firm fruit like this, not squishy. It'll be delicious. You do not want bright, squishy fruit. Like that. Not what you want. Anyway, bright fruit, firm, should be a little hard to pull off the bush. A lot of times, all the leaves will have fallen off the rose bush before you even harvest. This year, we just got a couple of frosts really early, before even the end of October. And we're about to get some warm temps today and tomorrow, and then some crazy rain. So all these fruit are just gonna get soft and nasty if I don't harvest them. So, we're out here harvesting. The frost helps because it makes things sweeter. Yeah, get out of there. So rosehips are great because they're super high in vitamin C. I think 5 times that of what an orange has per volume. Really high in antioxidants and a bunch of other vitamins. I think vitamin B and vitamin D. They don't quite taste like a rose, like you might think. They're a little bit more citrusy, but they do have a floral element to them as well. Tea is probably the simplest thing to do with them. You just dry them down and either leave them whole or break them down and then steep them in hot water. Super basic. You can also do jams and jellies and syrups, a little bit more complicated. And one thing I used to do as a kid was I would make candied rose hips. So you get your rose hips like this, you slice them in half, scrape the seeds out, and then just soak in sugar water and then dehydrate them in your oven. And it makes for a nice little festive treat. It's really nice on like the Thanksgiving dinner table or something. Fun fact about rose hips is that every variety of rose is actually edible, or rather that the hips from the rose bushes are edible, but some are more tasty than others. This bush here is just an Oregon wild rose. We have tons of them, probably hundreds of these bushes on the property. Something to be aware of in cities or more populated areas is oftentimes rose bushes might have been sprayed with something chemical, pesticide, etc., especially on city sidewalks and stuff. So do not eat rose hips from bushes that might have been sprayed. Keep it wild, keep it clean, and you'll be just fine. Back to the cabin kitchen. So now that we're back in the kitchen, we're just going to trim off the little dead flower end and where the stem came out, if there's any woody bits left, and slice them in half, and then we're just going to dehydrate them in the oven. Nice and easy. So rose hips are made up of the nice red fruit that we all know, and then if you carefully slice it in half, they are full of seeds and hairs. Now the seeds are just fine to eat, and technically so are the hairs, but they can be quite itchy when they dry out and be kind of uncomfortable in whatever you're eating. So when I'm candying, I usually just scrape out the seeds and get rid of them. But for tea, what we're gonna do is blitz everything really quickly in the food processor just to break it up. Pop it on a flat tray, dehydrate it in the oven at 180 degrees, and then sift it in a colander to get rid of some of those hairs. Pretty much all of those hairs will just fall right out. And then we have dried rose hips ready to just pop in a can and make tea all winter. That smells so good. If they're too tightly crowded, they won't dehydrate efficiently. They'll sort of steam each other, and that's not what we want. All right, I have an oven heated to 180 degrees. We're in. Every 15 or 20 minutes, I like to pop it open and let some of that moisture out. If your oven doesn't scream at you when you leave it open, you can just prop the door open with a wooden spoon like that. But however, my oven screams at me because it's new and new things do that. So just come in here and just give these guys a toss. Nothing crazy. Just making sure they dry out on all sides. These are actually sounding a little more dry, but the fruit still feels kind of soft. There we go. So that's a good sound. It's very dry. They're hard, crunchy. Any moisture is going to cause problems in storage, so it's just good to get them dry. There you have it. Rosehip tea. 2 tablespoons of rosehips, just in my little diffuser basket. Gonna pop it in there, bringing our water up to a boil. You guys know how to make tea. What am I doing? Oh, well, too close. The big thing is just figuring out what strength you like. I'd start with maybe 8 or 10 minutes and just see how it tastes to you, and you can go longer or shorter depending. It's not like a green tea or something where if you brew it more than like 45 seconds, it's bitter. It's not like that. So yeah, steep for a little while and enjoy. Oh, that is good. It's a little floral, a little citrusy, a little earthy. It's really nice with a little bit of honey, maybe some cream if that's the way you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something. I'm gonna be sick now on my porch with my tea.